Jai Baba to all. Here we are this evening with Nick Principe and friends to talk about Meher Baba's Kindness, which is a beautiful, beautiful title that Nick has given to this series of talks. And I think we need to talk more and more about that kindness every time. Um, but you have a topic already, Nick. So why don't we get started? Jai Baba.
Day Bob, it's all. And Marama, for you, for everybody, I don't mind if you have a comment or a question. The only thing I will alert you to is that I do have some, if I'm distracted, I may lose my train of thought. So if you are going to interrupt me or you have a question or a comment or a story, that's absolutely fine, but just kind of try to remind me where we are when we go back so that I'm not fumbling around trying to pick up the thread. Okay.
Thank
So,
you.
yeah, so the heading today is love and obedience, but it is always under Baba's kindness because it is because of his kindness that he gives us his love. It is because of his kindness that he allows us to obey him. It's because of his kindness that he's given hints on how to do that. And that is really, I think, what many of us struggle with. When I was a boy growing up in an Italian family, my mother would always say, "Oh, when you fall in love," but nobody ever told me what love was. It really, so I made mistakes and I ended up in relationships, and I thought, "Oh, this is love." And then I realized that there was another love that was greater. And then I moved on to another greater love. And now I'm now that I know about Baba, there's no love greater than his. So love is a progression. I think all of even obedience is a progression. We don't start out with the ability to magically obey Baba because it's too difficult. We don't even know sometimes because we have to go inside. As a matter of fact, one of the first things that I came across as I was researching this, Baba said the thing that makes me happy the most is my lovers being happy. You said, when you are not happy, I am not happy. Now, that's a very powerful statement because what that means to me is, what is it to be happy? It's not just walking around with a smile on your face because you got plenty of money in the bank. It's, to me personally, being happy is being content with whatever life gives me. Doesn't matter whether it's something bitter or something sweet, because it's Baba's wish and will. One of the trips when Bao was staying with me, I asked him if after Baba dropped the body, if he was finished with his suffering, and Bao said no, Baba's still suffering. And I said, how is that? If he's not in the body, how is he suffering? He said he's suffering in you.
Mm.
He said every time you disobey him and displease him, he suffers. He said because, especially now, because Baba said that for 100 years and a little more, it would be as if he was just still in the body.
Wow.
So we are causing Baba's suffering when we disobey him. And it is for each of us to, in our own way, figure out how we can obey him. When I don't know if everybody's familiar with it, but again, when somebody asked Bao when he was with me in Chapel Hill, he said, "Now that Baba's gone, how do we know how do we obey Baba? He's not giving us orders." And Bao said, yes, he is. He said, and the first he told us, he said, think of things that you would think in my presence. Only say things that you would say in my presence. And only do things that you would do in my presence. He said, that's orders. So that's for each of us. And then what Bao would do, he would uh, take out or ask me to get a copy of it. And it is my wish. And I think I've got that pretty handy. And he said, this is the only thing, this is my wish. This is Baba's words. The lover, Baba said, the lover has to keep the wish of the beloved. My wish is for my lovers. My wish for my lovers is as follows. Do not shirk your responsibilities. Attend faithfully to your worldly duties, but keep always in the back of your mind that all this is Baba's. When you feel happy, think, Baba wants me to be happy. When you suffer, think, Baba wants me to suffer. Be resigned to every situation and think honestly and sincerely, Baba has placed me in this situation. With the understanding that Baba is in everyone, try to help and serve others. I say with my divine authority to each and all that whoever takes my name at the time of breathing his last comes to me. So do not forget to remember me in your last moments. Unless you start remembering me from now, it will be difficult to remember me when your end approaches. You should start practicing from now on. Even if you take my name only once every day, you will not forget to remember me in your dying moments. So I've read this so many times over 50 years. And the one thing that I am completely stuck on, 4.4, be resigned to every situation and think honestly and sincerely, Baba has placed me in this situation. And 3, when you are happy, think Baba wants me to be happy. When you suffer, think Baba wants me to suffer. That's, for me, that's impossible.
2:45.
So far, that's impossible for me to do.
What is to believe that Baba wants you to suffer?
No. That's not it. It's not that Baba wants me to suffer or wants anybody to suffer, but we should remember him at the time of suffering. And the way I think of it, I think, what does he want me to learn from this experience? You know, suffering itself, I mean, Baba said there's a whole long, you can read so much stuff about suffering. It's mostly, Baba said something like 90 something percent is self-imposed. But what is, from many of us, what causes suffering is we don't get our way. We just want something, and when that want is thwarted, it's like a child wants a cookie, and the mother won't give the child a cookie, and the child's crying and screaming and stamping its feet. We pretty much do the same thing as we get older. We want things our way, and if we don't get it our way, we want to, we question why, which is another interesting thing, because I found another wonderful quote with Baba. He said, when love draws you to me, don't question. We should just be happy that we know about him, happy that he's drawn us to him. And obedience to him is how we can win his love. Baba had said that love is a gift from the master to man. Obedience is a gift from man to the master. So that, to me, means that I want a lot of his love. I want more and more of it. So therefore, I have to do more to try and obey him. So I saw today a most marvelous YouTube talk that I would recommend that anybody find. It was about 12 years old. It was a woman by the name of Rhoda Dubash.
Mm.
And Rhoda, I'm fortunate, I knew Rhoda and her husband. Baba referred to him as part of his family. As far as Adi was so an interesting little story with them, which they told me themselves, is that they had two boys, two small children. And Baba asked them one day when they were at Guru Prasad or Meherban, Baba said, Rhoda, can I have one of your children? And Rhoda said, oh, of course, Baba. And what she was thinking is that he was going to go live like the Mandali and live with Baba. So years went by. I think they were living in Pakistan. Baba had sent them an order that on a particular day, at a particular time for an hour, they were to sit and not move and repeat his name. And Adi was to do that, not Rhoda. Rhoda was in the kitchen. The boys were playing. The boys had climbed up on the roof, and Rhoda looked out the window, and one of the boys fell off from the roof, hit the ground, and died. And she started hollering to Adi, and Adi didn't move because Baba had told him, regardless of what, you stay where you are, repeat my name. And Rhoda said she realized then what Baba meant when he said, can I have one of your children? She's a marvelous storyteller. I would recommend that you search this. But just to give you an idea about obedience and how that works, I'm going to be paraphrasing, but this is a story that she told today, or I heard it today. Baba sent for them. They were at Guru Prasad. They were allowed to go to Guru Prasad. Baba had already had his accidents. He was suffering quite a bit, obviously. When Baba at one point, towards the end of the meeting, said that all the women were to leave the hall. The men could stay, the women were to leave. But the women were, before they left, they were to come kiss Baba and then leave. So the first woman who got up, she went up, she kissed Baba, and then she bowed. And Baba didn't say anything. And Rhoda, as other people started coming up, they copied this woman. They kissed Baba, and then they bowed. Rhoda thought to herself, she said she was among one of the last to go. And she thought, did I mishear? Did I hear something wrong? Because I thought Baba said, just kiss me and then go. He didn't say anything about bowing down. But she said she was confused because all these other people were bowing down, but Baba didn't say anything to them. Her turn comes. She kisses Baba. She bows down. And when she started to get up, she said her head hit Baba's leg. And she said she could feel and see the agony that it caused him. because of that's why Baba didn't want anybody. That's why he said, "Kiss me. Don't do anything else." It's a marvelous, marvelous story. And Baba, said to her afterwards, he said, "That's you know my oh, I forgive you only because you're my part of my family." But that's how disobedience is. We can get a direct order from Baba and still kind of
Those,
we use our thought process. So years ago, Alaba was staying with me. Alaba would allow himself to have one Coca-Cola a day. So he's giving a talk at a friend's house, and his friend who was hosting said, what should I get? I said, well, make sure you've got a bottle of Coke, can of Coke for Alaba. So sure enough, the break comes, and I ask Alaba what he would like. He said, one Coca-Cola and 4 ice cubes. Now I go in the kitchen, we get the Coca-Cola, and when my friend Eddie takes out the ice cube tray, the ice cubes were maybe about the size of a thumb. They were very small. So I'm looking, thinking ice cubes are generally bigger. So I put in 8 ice cubes, figuring 2 ice cubes would make 1. When I bring the glass to Alaba, he looks in it. He said, "What's the matter? You can't count." Now, it wasn't an order. The man, Alaba couldn't give an order, but it made me realize if I couldn't do that, you know, how, yeah, just the you might say the snares along the path. But anyway, yeah. And so one of the things I've also been thinking of with regards to obedience is I don't know if you all are familiar, but Baba describes what he calls the law of must. Not must meaning the souls in India who are gone intoxicated, but must,
MUST.
MUST. Um, I read it some years ago. Baba had told Kitty this in the 50s here. So it's this is, of course, one of my favorite books now, The Path of Love, because it's got all these little bits in it. So this is Baba, the inexorable must. Everything and everyone in the universe is constrained to move along a path which is prescribed by its past. There is an inexorable must that reigns over all things large or small, whether one is male or female, rich or poor, strong or weak, beautiful or ugly, intelligent or dull. One cannot escape from being such because one must necessarily be so due to the impressions of the past. The freedom which man seems to enjoy is itself subject to inner compulsions, and the environmental pressure which limits the scope of reaction or molds the reacting self is itself subject to the inexorable must, which is operative in the past, present, and future. Man has his name, his sex, his personality, his color, his nationality, his characteristics, his pain and pleasure, and all that he must possess, because he must have all these things. This overpowering compulsion is exercised by the force of innumerable impressions gathered in the past. These accumulated impressions cloud the consciousness of the self at every stage, in every incarnation of the future, which in one's life belongs to one's living present. So as I read that, I'm thinking, where's the scope for obedience? It's everything I do because I must do it. Where is the scope to do something different? My sense, and I'm this is just purely me, my sense is that the only way to become free of that, there are two ways. One is to continue, and birth after birth after birth after birth. The other is to surrender to Baba, to surrender to him so that we have no sense of self. And when we have no sense of self, and everything we do is acknowledging Baba's wish and will, then I think all those past impressions don't matter. And the reason why I say that, why I think that, there are people, stories of people who were criminals, murderers, who came before Baba, and the minute they see Baba, they fell at his feet, and that was the end of their life. They didn't do that anymore. Because Baba can forgive us, can take us out of that. And the perfect example we have of that were his Mandali. It didn't matter whether their impressions were, Adi has said that he wanted to get married when he was a boy. His parents had arranged a bride for him. And Baba called the bride. Adi and Baba had Adi sit in one chair, the bride to be on another chair, but not facing each other. And Baba said to this woman, he said, "Why do you want this man? He's useless. He's not going to do anything for you. He's just useless. So just find somebody else." And she did, and that was the end of it. So my sense is that the impressions were there for him to get married, but Baba said, "No, I want you for my work. I want you to do work for me, so therefore you can't be married." At least that's my take on it. And I don't mean to sound presumptuous, but I can't help but believe that there's something to that.
Weren't there other Mandalay that were married, like Bauji, and had family?
Yes, right, but even there, it's because it was Baba's wish and will. Not, Erich was married.
No.
Yeah, Erich was married. The marriage was never consummated. His mother arranged the wedding.
Gaima?
Yeah, that's the tradition in India, right? So the mother arranges the marriage when they're children. So this girl, the Gaimai in the early days, perhaps even before they met Baba, I don't know the exact timeline, but Erich was a child. And she promised, and in India, giving your word is considered like a sacrament. You don't break your word. So she arranged for him to get married. So now finally the day comes, and the girl, whatever it is, because of her age or whatever, I don't know what the tradition is in India. But now she goes to Erich and she says, now it's time to get married. And Erich, of course, goes to Baba. And he said, what should I do? Baba asked him, he said, Erich explains, the guy Maya arranged this marriage. And Erich said, well, we have to obey your mother. He said, so you get married. And Erich said, okay. And Baba went to the wedding. And after the ceremony, Erich went to Baba and said, now what do I do? He said, what do you mean? What do you do? You come back with me. And that was it. And she lived with his family. So the marriage was never consummated. But she was married. He was married. So it's everything that we think we know about Baba, you're going to find some, you might say, a glitch where you go, whoops, that's different. I didn't expect to see that or hear that.
Mm.
And I think it had to do with whether, I mean, there are many factors. I don't presume to know why Baba does what he does, but there were also among the Mandali is the karmic connection about who's supposed to be born into that family. For
Mm.
instance, Bao is a grandfather, and his daughter Sheila. I don't know if you ever met Sheila. She's wonderful, and but Bao, interestingly, and this is also very different than our culture. After the children are born, the parents don't participate in intimacy anymore, as a rule. It's sex is not recreation; it's creation. It's not recreation. So the Jains are like that. And I had friends in North Carolina who were Jains. They had three children, two girls and a boy. They had a two-bedroom apartment. The two girls and mom slept in one room. The girls were young women. They put the two beds together, and the son and the father lived in another bedroom. There was
Mm.
no, sex was finished. It's to have children. So, uh, yeah, it's, I say just, but, Baba, what I personally have experienced, I don't know, I can't say whether or not, I know Baba loves all of us, so he loves me because he says he loves everybody. That I believe. But I do know that he takes really good care of me.
Mm.
And that I think, I'd like to think it's because I try uh, to love him, try to obey him. And loving him is by obeying him. I asked Erich one time as I was having difficulty surrendering to Baba. He said, then why not ask Baba to help you surrender? It's completely simple. So part of my prayers now, I ask him, Jal, Baba's brother, used to tell me all the time, be resigned to Baba's wish and will. And I would say, Baba, I have difficulty doing that. Well, help me, please be resigned to your wish and will. And my sense is that the more we implore Baba, the more we call on him, the more we ask him, almost like a pestering child,
Mm.
then I think if it's we get his attention.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way I think about it. Because Alaba used to say, like Baba's sleeping in your heart. So how do you wake Baba up?
Yeah.
You wake him up by calling on him, calling his name.
Mm. Um,
Right, might have. There's a whole section in this book on obedience, and it's much too long for me to read everything. But something that he said which I find interesting because, and I just read this recently, because Mani had told me this years ago. She said, if you want to build character, every day do something that you don't want to do, and don't do
It's,
something that you do want to do.
mm,
So Baba is describing exactly that. If you are hungry, you should not eat. If you are not hungry, you should eat. When you feel like sleeping, you should not sleep. And when you do not feel like sleeping, you should sleep. This is what Hafiz means by going against one's nature, stepping out of the boundary of your nature. And I think that's when we become capable of obedience.
mm,
If we have to eat because it's 3 o'clock and I usually have a snack at 3 o'clock, and how are we going to obey Baba if he wants you at 10 to 3 and you're not going to have your snack? And you say, oh, Baba, just wait a minute, please. No, no, it's not going to happen. So I think Baba said, obedience is to become dust at the master's feet. And what is it to become dust? Dust has no thought of its own, whether it is trampled upon or applied to the forehead of a man or remains suspended in the air or water. It is all one and the same. I tell you that there is no truer and better example of complete obedience than becoming like dust.
mm,
And of course, for those, I'm sure everybody's seen it, the quote, the Hafiz quote that Baba had repeated just as he was dropping the body just before.
mm.
The couplet about what you hear from the master. Never say it
That's
is wrong, because my dear faults in the fault lies in your own incapacity to understand it. I am a slave of the master who has released me from ignorance. Whatever my master does is of the highest benefit to all concerned. Befitting a fortunate slave,
mm.
carry out every wish of the master without any thought of why or what.
Mm. That's in the cabin.
Sorry, Mara?
It's in the cabin, Barbara's cabin.
Yes.
It's
Yes, well,
in
the,
it's in
you know
two
the story.
languages, isn't it? In
It's
Persian
in
and
Persian and
English.
English,
Yeah.
but the
Yeah.
story with that. It was in Baba's room,
Mm.
and just before dropping the body, he had it brought down and read out aloud for everybody. So that was the last message, you might say, that Baba gave.
Yeah. Yeah,
And that,
I always remember that. It's beautiful.
and I think that's why they moved it into the cabin where Baba, because that's where Baba's body
Yeah. The
was
stretcher.
brought on the stretcher, right? So I think that's why it's in that cabin.
Oh,
It'll always be associated with Baba's passing.
yeah. There's an interesting New Zealand connection here, and he ended up in Christchurch. He was the driver of the ambulance. He was
Oh,
living
uh-huh.
in Namibia at the time that Barbara dropped the body, and
Uh-huh.
he drove the ambulance, apparently.
Wow.
Yeah. And he ended up in Christchurch, and Anthony Thorpe. Oh gosh, I'll have to look it up. But there's this, I do believe it's in Lord Meher somewhere.
Hmm. What a blessing.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love the cat.
Oh, over the years, I've heard stories like that. I heard a story that Baba, when he was in Myrtle Beach, was on the porch at Dilruba, where Elizabeth and Kitty was, and he was just standing there, and uh, uh, it was a delivery from an oil company in those days, heating oil, and he pulled up and asked Baba something, and so yeah, just what fun to think that somebody, unbeknownst to them, still has had darshan.
Yeah, there's
Wonderful blessing.
gorgeous, aren't they? They're gems. It's like, whoa. He truly is for everyone, you know. Mm.
Yeah, my ex-wife lived in Italy for 5 years when she was a little girl. Her dad was stationed at the American embassy, and she got lost in St. Mark's Square when Baba was in Venice in St. Mark's Square as like
Oh,
as a
gorgeous.
5-year-old. She has no idea. She has no memory of whether or not she saw Baba. She couldn't say she did. But here she is as a
Oh,
5-year-old wandering around the street there, the square there.
at the
So
same time that he was there, that's gorgeous.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm.
But he's as far as I'm concerned, he's still available. He's still here.
Yep.
You just have to use your imagination.
Yeah, it's a good way to use your imagination, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, you've got a great laugh. Thank you. Yes, so lovely,
Oh,
animated. Thank you.
oh, thank Baba. He gave it to me.
Yeah. Well, as I get older now, I realize that all my senses are diminishing. My sense of smell, sense of taste, sense of vision,
Yeah.
sense of hearing. The only sense that can get better is the sense of humor.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
work on it. And of course, the Mandali used to say, I don't know if you've heard it, but Baba would ask people randomly for jokes. And the Mandali would say, practice a joke for next birth. Because if Baba comes back, if you with him, and he's going to ask you for a joke. So there are people who've walked around, myself included, just randomly practicing jokes, hoping that Baba will one day ask, tell me a joke.
That's a good thing. One time in the NPR, someone had left a whole lot of sayings, from saints and gurus and whatnot. But I was
Yeah,
thinking, wouldn't it be great to have a whole heap of jokes? You know,
yeah, exactly.
God jokes. I mean, really good ones, not
Yes,
nasty ones. But yeah.
there was it's so many years ago. I bet you it's more than 50, 60 years ago, because I'm in my 80s now, and I bet I was in my late teens, early 20s. And I found a book, it was a paperback titled The Humor of Christ. And I
Oh,
wish I still had it. But
yeah.
the, but the fellow who did this book, he took so many quotes, and just by changing punctuation, was able to present the comments in a different light. And
Ah,
interestingly, in the days when early days when the Bible was first put together, the ancient Aramaic, there was no punctuation marks used in that language.
mm,
So it was just a
okay.
sentence. So the people who decided, the editors somewhere down the road, started adding commas and
Oh,
pauses, and so it's changed the meaning. Yeah, hey
oh,
there,
that's
young lady.
fabulous. I've got to go. Sorry, people, we've
No,
got
no,
a doctor's
we're we're we're
appointment.
we're close to ending anyway. Thank you for being here, man.
Oh, thank you. I loved listening to you and a few things to take away. Kia ora from New Zealand, and I'll try and be pop in again.
All right,
You
yeah. And
do
by the
that.
way, I love your sketch in the back, Bob and Mara. Who did that?
Oh. That's the friend that's that Diana LePage.
Oh, Diana, yes, yes. Yeah,
It's
she and
it's Barbara and Mira. Can you see
yeah.
it?
Oh, yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah, I knew them also. They actually stayed with me in Chapel Hill also.
yeah. It's a really good. It's a charcoal drawing.
Yeah, lovely.
Okay, I
Thank you.
must go now. So it was nice meeting you all.
Jay Baba.
Jay,
Jay
Thanks for staying.
bye. Bye.
Come back now.
Ciao.
Thank you.
Hi, Betty.
Hi, I'm sorry to be late. Didn't mean to be. Hi, Nick.
Hi, Betty. You're absolutely fine. Actually, until about 2 hours before this meeting, I didn't even know if I could do it
Oh.
because my family was here for Thanksgiving,
Oh.
and I'm suffering
Oh.
because I ate too much.
Nick is in
I'm
recovery.
2.5 pounds. That's between Wednesday and Sunday, 2.5 pounds. And weight gain is, I can't afford any more weight gain.
Uh,
But yeah, it took a long nap today to to
Sleep
get
was
me
good.
refreshed enough. Yes,
Yeah. Uh,
yeah, that was the other thing with all that energy of all these young people. The conversation, everything was just rapid fire, and
yeah.
of course they use language now. All the millennials, they have these little quick phrases and words, and so I couldn't follow it. It was like sitting in a Chinese restaurant listening to a bunch of Chinese people talking. Yeah, but it was lovely to have them all here
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah. Do they live far or close or?
Well, my daughter and her fiance live in Raleigh, which is about 3 hours north. My son lives in Charleston, which is an hour south, and my niece came up and she lives in Florida.
Oh, wow.
Mm.
Yeah.
But,
So,
yeah,
yeah.
so, but
But,
what I have found interesting with Baba is let's say he's stretching the umbilical cords, because eventually we have to be finished with all those attachments. So, and I
uh,
honestly didn't know, when Alaba, we used to write back and forth. I did with many of the Mandali. And Alaba, at one point, towards the end, he said, "Now, don't write to me anymore. And anything you have, you save it until you see me in India." And it was very difficult because I was so used to writing, and that was finished. And of course, there's this wonderful story with Adi when just when Baba, the last few months of his life, Adi was in Nagar at the trust office. But he was always, Baba would call him for business, or if there were mail, he'd have to bring it out to Baba. If there was a guest wanting to see Baba and they just showed up at the trust compound, he would have to go. And it got to the point, Adi said he would go to Merazad. Baba would be sitting with the Mandali and said, "Why are you here?" And Adi said, "Well, there's mail, Baba." And Baba said, "Yes, give it to Erich." And then he would say, "Now go, leave." And Adi said he would go stand outside and just chat. He said, because, the Mandali, he lived with them since they were teenagers.
right.
So they would have a few minutes to say hello. And Baba would send somebody out and say, "Is Adi still there? Tell him I said to go." And Adi said that it got so bad, he was so heartbroken that he'd go back to his office, he'd go in the toilet, and he would cry.
Uh,
And his secretary, who might have known, Ferram Working Boxwala, Ferram told him, he said, "I don't know how you can put up with this." Because Adi would just weep and weep and weep. So what ended up happening, he said, when Baba dropped the body, he was the only one who had enough mental acuity that he could write and send telegrams and notify everybody about Baba's passing. Because none of the other Mandali, they were so dazed.
Yeah.
And he said it was like Baba had already pushed him away, so that he was able to do that.
Oh, that
So,
sounds so hard. Oh,
yeah, but I think it's what we all have to go through because, as Bao used to tell me, the spiritual path is single file.
yeah.
There is no we on the spiritual path. So, eventually you by yourself.
Uh-huh.
And to tell you the truth, my hope and my prayer is that Baba might allow me to be with him someplace when he comes back. And if it means that I never see my family again, that's fine.
Uh,
I'll take that. I will be happy to take a time with Baba
uh,
and just wave at all my past
yeah.
children, everybody.
Uh,
I mean, eventually that's what we have to do anyway.
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
who do you love more?
Uh, yeah.
I
I
mean,
don't.
that's really what it is. Who do you love more?
Ay, yeah. Did you didn't meet Baba, did you, physically?
Uh, I always have difficulty answering that question, and I'll tell you why. I found out about Baba in the 60s. He was still in the body.
Uh-huh.
My imagination is so vivid. It's a gift that Baba has given me that I tell you, there's not a day that goes by that I don't see Baba in my apartment.
Oh.
I talk with him, I sit with him. So when people ask me, did you meet him?
Mm.
Not the way you think, but did I meet him? Sure.
Uh,
But I think also Padre, when people would tell Padre, this is way back in the early days, they say, oh, we wish we met Baba. And Padre would go, "Wow. Do you think you would be here now if you hadn't met him before?"
oh.
So yeah, I just take it for granted that we all have, but we don't remember it. But
Yeah.
you can remember it by using your imagination. Imagine you're with him. I mean, isn't that he
Right.
said it's all imagination?
Right. Yeah.
Just use your
And he is with
imagination.
you all the time, he says. Yeah.
So
Closer
so
than your own breath. Yeah.
so where's the harm in that?
Right. Right. Uh-huh.
But I can't say I sat in Baba's physical presence or met him in his physical form.
Mm-hmm.
When Darwin Shaw was asked about meeting Baba, he said, I met Baba in the spirit
Ah.
way before he met him
Oh.
physically.
Uh-huh.
See? So there are lots of ways.
Right.
Uh,
Uh-huh. Hey, Nick.
actually, yes, ma'am. Go
Oh,
ahead.
go. Were you going to finish your thought?
Yeah, I was going to say that, you know, in the early days, I don't know if it's still so much now, but in the early days, anybody who was in a crowd of 100,000 people who met Baba, they'd use that. I met one fellow who's traveling around the world, staying with Baba lovers, getting meals in places to stay for free
Mm-hmm.
because he had been an attendee at the Sahavas. And that's a blessing to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But what I try to remember is that there are 8,400,000 lives, Baba said, for each of us. So who knows whether your lifetime is way past where that person's is,
Yeah.
So your inner wisdom, your inner maturity, your inner strength
Mm-hmm.
could be much greater. But in the early days, we were all so hungry.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody who physically saw Baba off in a distance,
Mm-hmm.
and that's wonderful. But they used it for selfish reasons. I think some of them. I met Baba, so therefore
Right.
doesn't make one an
Right.
authority.
Yeah.
Meeting Baba does not make one an authority. Baba said, "You see me, but you don't see me as I am." We see the physical form. That's not who he is. So our job is to try and see him as he really is.
Yeah. So now I have this question. I forget. Are we just about done? Are we over at 5 or 5 to 5? Oh, darn. Well, if you, I'll ask anyway. We, we saw this. We saw the movie, Bob Frederick's movie about the Satara accident, and in that movie, the second part, there's a bit about the sacred limp that Jesus apparently was. And I wondered if you knew. You're kind of you know these old stories. Some I'd never heard about it. That Jesus was kind of part of was what's the word, beaten, I guess, by I think it was by the the uh, the priests of the time. It was a necessary thing that Jesus. Is that something that you know anything about? I've never heard about it.
Not about the accident. I do know that Baba had said that every avatar carries some sign
Mm.
that we can recognize him by. So, and Baba pointed to his forehead, and it was the scar from the accident.
Oh. Oh.
So I don't know anything else about limps or anything like
Okay.
that.
All right. Okay.
But there is that common thread like that.
Hmm.
We heard a story the other day that Mary Magdalene had a mark right where Mara's mark
Yeah.
was.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh. Do you feel that Mary Magdalene was his what's the word, consort, or you're shaking your head no? I mean, the Mary, is it Mary or is it Mary Magdalene? I don't feel like I know his mother Mary. I guess that's a big subject. Maybe we could talk about it next time. Uh, uh,
You know, when I was bothering Kitty one time, asking her about a lot of things about the past, she said, Nick, she said, remember, Baba wants us to live in the now. So there's only so much time and energy we need to give those things.
Mhm.
You know, it's not that they're not important, but are they important? You know, does it make a difference? I mean, one of the current things now is Jesus married or not? I'm sorry, does it make a difference?
Mm.
It would to his family if they knew it, but I don't see people coming out of the woodwork and saying, I'm the 12th generation great grandson of Jesus, you know. The bloodline is there, like Baba. Baba's bloodline is there. I mean, the twins,
Mhm.
there, you know, he had, his brothers had children. They
Mhm.
carry the bloodline. They have children now. So, yes, in that sense, Baba's bloodline is going to be around for a very long time.
Mhm.
We'll have to start looking for limps.
Uh,
I think we could recognize them by smiles.
uh,
What did you just say? I missed it.
We can recognize Baba's family by smiles.
uh,
All right, ladies, it is 1 8 after 8, so I'm gonna
Bye, Nick.
climb off
Happy
now.
holidays. We're very
Thank
thankful
you.
for you.
Thank you, dears. It's been delightful. God bless you all, and Baba bless us all.
Thank you, Diana, for hosting.
Oh, Jay Baba. Yes, that's right. We won't see you again until after the holidays. So
mhm, mhm.
I hope they're just really very, very lovely for
Nick,
everyone here.
I haven't seen you in a while. You look great. You look just great. Even maybe with the 2 extra pounds.
That's just because I'm sitting.
Jay Baba.
Hey,
Okay,
Bob.
bye.
That's what it is.